What's up guys? Just a quick rundown on this car behind me, 2007 Lexus RX350 with an intermittent stalling issue and it can be hard to restart. Quick rundown, it's been to 2 workshops. They've replaced the fuel pump, the camera crank sensors, and the issue is still ongoing. That's when I got called in. Upon arrival, I did a full system scan search. I found multiple fault codes for 5 out of the 6 coils. There was fault codes, primary, secondary related issue. I then checked for an RPM signal and we had an RPM signal. So the PCM can see the rotation of the engine. I also did check for spark at the coil and there was spark. So I was a bit confused at this point, but after that I did check the EGT signal, which is that's the timing signal from the PCM to the coil to fire the coils, and it was there when the vehicle was not starting. So at this point I want to check all the coils, so I took out the fuse for the injectors and the ignition coils, put an AMS clamp and cranked it over when it wasn't starting, and there were multiple firing events. So these coils were being controlled, they were firing, and the vehicle's still not starting. Next, I checked the injectors because I was thinking that maybe it's losing injection pulse, and it was. And what I noticed is the PCM was not controlling the injectors. So it had a good power feed, but the PCM wasn't controlling the injectors. At this point, I was considering calling a PCM a computer issue, but I was afraid of if it was the PCM was intentionally shutting down the circuit. So I did a bit of more research on the ignition coils because I was concerned why we had the fault codes there and they were firing. And I noticed that using Snap-on's information system that there is an EGF circuit on these coils, and that circuit is to let the PCM know that ignition has taken place. It's like a confirmation that the coils are firing. So the PCM only knows that these coils are firing by that circuit. Using a wiring diagram here, I confirmed that all of the coils share the same IGF circuit back to the PCM. So if one of them become corrupt, it shuts the whole circuit down. And I realized this is most likely why it's shutting the injectors off. The PCM is intentionally shutting the injectors off once it loses that EGF sensor circuit because it thinks the coils aren't firing. And so it's a safety measure to save the cat from dumping raw fuel in the system. So I quoted up all 6 coils. I did get them replaced. It did fix the issue, but just keep in mind, if you ever come across one of these systems that have an EGF circuit on the coils and you have fault codes for the coils, but you see that there's spark, don't be misled and check that EGF circuit if it becomes corrupt like you see here before the stalling issue happens. Thanks for watching.